Hi, gang. Bob Boving here for the Mystery Project. Tonight, the start of a two-part story about terror, suspicion, and the dangers of too much spare time. It's also a short course in how to drive a young relative to distraction. These are the travails of elderly Ellen Ridgway in Philip Levene's play, Suspicious Mind.
Louise? Louise, is that you? Louise, can't you sleep? Louise! Oh, dear, the bulb's gone. Now, where are my slippers? Louise, why don't you answer me? Who's that? Who's there? Look, I know there's someone there. You?
Yes, Ellen. Me. It's taken me a long time, Ellen. No, don't move. There's nowhere to run to.
How did you find me?
There are ways. It's sometimes a disadvantage to be as attractive as you, my dear. Those elegant clothes, the clubs you visit. Whoever I asked, they all remembered you.
What? What are you doing?
Won't bother you if I slip on these gloves, will it?
No, stay away from me.
How obliging of you.
What?
To move towards the open window. That's it. On to the balcony.
No, please, don't come near me.
What a beautiful view. And such a long way down, isn't it?
No.
Long way down.
No.
Long way down. Long way down. Down.
Aunt Ellen? Aunt Ellen?
No, keep away from me. Don't touch me.
Aunt Ellen, wake up.
No, don't.
What? Come on now, wake up. Dreaming again?
Oh, it's you, Louise, thank heavens. Oh, I can't tell you. Oh, I am relieved.
Didn't you hear the bell? I rang 3 times.
Did you? I'm so sorry, I was reading.
Your book's on the floor.
Warm fire, so cosy I must have dozed off.
Here, your book.
Thank you. It's awfully good. Oh, did you forget your key?
Oh, hardly, or I wouldn't have been able to let myself in, would I?
No, how silly of me. But if you had your key, why did you ring?
Because, darling, the key was in my bag, and the bag was at the bottom of my shopping basket. I had to take everything out on the landing.
What a nuisance. I am sorry. Here, let me take your coat.
Oh, thank you.
Well, have you had a hard day?
Oh, the office would be bearable if the tubes weren't so crowded.
Where's the basket?
In the hallway.
Oh, no, I'll get it. Heavy.
Careful with it. There's some eggs on top. No, don't take it into the kitchen.
Where do you want it?
Over here, on the table.
Are the eggs new laid?
Oh, I expect so. Shopping in the lunch hour, there's hardly time to ask.
What's in this
Now,
one?
don't bother me for a moment. I want to make sure I've got everything.
Can't I help?
All right, but do be careful, won't you? Now,
Yes.
eggs, tomatoes, tin of sardines.
Oh, what's in there?
Cherries.
Lovely. Oh, yes, they do look nice.
Oh, don't touch, you'll spoil your supper.
Oh.
Look, you just leave it to me. Margarine, cooking fat, tea, sugar, and a wholemeal loaf.
There was no need to buy any bread. We've half a loaf in the larder.
I bumped into Mr. Cooper from upstairs this morning. He asked me if I'd oblige him. Oh, I've forgotten the soap powder.
Will you go out again?
I may do. I think I could do with some tea first.
Well, if you are going to the shops, I'll come with you. I could do with a breath of air.
Oh, haven't you been out?
No.
I thought you were going to the library.
No, I changed my mind.
Well, that's very naughty of you.
Yes.
Dr. Parker said you should get out whenever you can. Exercise, plenty of fresh air. A walk does you the world of good.
I know.
It's been such a glorious day. Tomorrow it'll probably rain and you'll be complaining. Stuck in that office, I'd give anything to be out.
I did intend to go for a walk. In fact, I had my coat
Then
on.
why'd you change your mind?
Well, if you must know, I can't lie to you, Louise. I suddenly thought of that man.
What man?
The man I told you about. The one who keeps following me home.
Now, please, Auntie, don't let's start that again.
Louise,
No buts. You've a very vivid imagination, but you mustn't let it run away with you.
I'm not, I tell you. It's the truth.
I know. But remember the story you came home with a fortnight ago about the thieves' car parked outside the bank?
Well, it was similar to the description in the newspaper.
As it turned out, it belonged to the bank manager's wife.
It did look suspicious.
No, Auntie, you just thought it
Yes,
did.
but you see, Louise, it
do
did.
indeed. You're an avid reader, and somehow you... Well, you're always seeing yourself as a heroine in some dramatic situation.
That's not
You're
fair.
not content to just read about them. You have to invent them.
But, Louise, I tell you, a man has been following me.
You couldn't even describe
Well,
him.
as I said, I wasn't sure, but I think he was about 60. Tall, thin, with grey hair, and wearing a light mackintosh.
Well, that description would fit almost anyone. And anyway, why should he pick on you?
Who can say? To steal my handbag, for one thing.
For the few shillings you'll be carrying, you don't look very rich, Auntie.
People have been murdered in their beds for less.
Only in the books you read.
Yes, but 3 times last week I caught him following me from the library, through Chatsworth Gardens, right to the front door. I was never so relieved to get home. I know I'm getting on in years, but my eyesight's perfect. He followed me all the way back.
Oh, why didn't you call a policeman?
Well, for one thing, there wasn't one about. There never is if you want one. And, well, I daren't stop. Though if I'd had my umbrella with me, I should have set about him, I can tell you that.
Let's have that cup of tea.
Shall I put the kettle on?
No, I'll see to it. You get the cups out of the dresser. Auntie, that's the 4th biscuit.
Oh, is it?
You know very well it is, and you've got to watch your weight. Now, come along, let's close that tin.
Oh.
Now, why don't you stroll down to the library? You could pick up that soap powder for me on the way back.
No, I don't really...
Why not?
Well, for one thing, that man might be coming along.
Auntie, please, if you carry on like that, I'll get very cross.
Oh, all right. But I have a feeling something dreadful is going to happen.
Oh, you always have. Now, hurry, get your coat or the shops will be closed.
Very well.
And I should take the umbrella in case it rains. Now, what about your purse and books?
I've got everything.
But why so solemn? Oh, honestly. Now, you have a nice walk. Back not later than 6:15, though. I've your favourite supper, Dover sole.
That'll be nice. Well, goodbye, Louise.
Goodbye.
The minister added that in view of the current shortage, the price was bound to be affected. However, the government were taking steps to protect the consumer. The police are seeking the whereabouts of a man who attacked and robbed an elderly lady in Kensington during yesterday's fog. Until now, the victim, who received severe head injuries, has not recovered. Fog in the M1 earlier
Oh,
today
Mr.
caused the
Cooper.
pile-up of half
Good
a
evening,
dozen
Miss Ridgway.
One moment while I
people
turn
were
this off.
detained with minor injuries.
Sorry.
Tea cloth? I can see I've disturbed you.
No, not at all.
I came down to ask another favour. I can't seem to catch the milkman. There's a small bill outstanding. I wondered if you could oblige me and pay him.
Certainly.
I think it's about 7 shillings.
Oh, don't worry about that now. Oh, I've your loaf here. Do come in. I shan't eat you.
What do I owe you?
Oh, you can settle up when I've seen the milkman.
You sure that's all right?
Of course. That, book looks interesting.
I hope it is. I've just got it from the library.
Travel book, isn't it?
Yes, it's a poor substitute for the real thing. I used to travel quite a bit, but I haven't been abroad for some years now. My wife doesn't particularly...
I went abroad once.
Did you?
Paris.
Lovely city.
Yes. I adored the bookstalls on the left bank and the chestnut trees.
Yes.
But you know, with all its treasures and grand buildings, what I remember most is a little antique shop on Quai Voltaire. Silly, isn't it?
No, as a matter of fact, I think I know the one you mean. White door with bubble glass.
Yes. Oh, but that was a long time ago, when I was still a schoolgirl.
Well, then it can't be that long ago, surely.
I suppose you didn't see my aunt when you were at the library?
No, I didn't.
Oh, and I particularly asked her not to be late.
I shouldn't worry. I always spend longer in the library than I intend. Well, I suppose I'd better wend my way back upstairs.
Yes.
Well, thank you for the loaf. Good night.
Good night, Mr. Cooper. Hello? Yes, speaking. Who's that? Police. What? But when did this happen? I see. Yes, of course. I'll be there right away.
Well, you see, Louise, after I'd been to the library, I thought I'd take a stroll through the gardens. As I got to the fish pond, there he was again, behind me. That man.
You told the sergeant, did you?
Yes, it's all in the statement.
I hope they won't keep us long, or supper will be ruined.
He followed me past the pond, to the tennis courts, right to the sundial. Finally, I turned, and I simply hit out with my umbrella. What else could I do? The man obviously has a list of convictions that long. Believe me, Louise, it took courage to stop and face him.
Miss Ellen Ridgway, on behalf of this borough, I wish to thank you for the courageous way in which you brought this scoundrel to justice.
Oh, your worship, it was nothing.
Such modesty. A notorious criminal who, but for you, Miss Ridgway, would still be terrifying the helpless women of the borough. And now, let us hear in her own words how she waylaid and captured this brutal monster single-handed.
No, I couldn't.
Yes, go on, please, Auntie. Please, Auntie. Aunt Ellen?
What?
The sergeant needs your signature on that statement.
Would you mind, madam?
Oh, yes, of course.
Sergeant, I'm sure my aunt didn't mean to hurt this gentleman.
No. Well, take a look at this umbrella. About fit for the scrap heap.
Well, I had to protect myself. He was following me.
He denies
He
it.
would. You bring him in here. Let him deny it in front of me.
You know, this gentleman's quite within his rights to charge you with assault.
But I tell you that
Look, I can't argue with you. Just hang on here for a second, will you?
Oh, Louise, do you think I'll be arrested?
Oh, come along. Don't upset yourself.
Well, I tell you, it was the same man. And he was following me.
Then I'm sure everything will be all right. Now stop sniffing and put away that handkerchief. There's someone coming.
Oh, please, Sergeant, please. Don't let her near me again. I'm
That's all
black
right,
and blue as it is.
Well, I like that. You wicked old man.
I beg your pardon. It was you who attacked me.
And for a very good reason.
Now, this lady says you were annoying her, Professor.
I deny that. I deny it absolutely.
Professor, did you say?
That is correct, madam. Professor Galton, formerly of the Institute of Natural History.
And, if I may add, a very respected citizen in these parts?
Well, perhaps he is. That still wouldn't prevent him from following me.
No, but where do you live, Miss Ridgway?
At Browning Court in the Pelham Road.
And where do you live, Professor?
At number 105, Pelham Road.
Yeah, that's a little way beyond Browning Court, I believe.
Yes, it is. Oh, dear.
Exactly. Yes, it's possible the Professor did walk behind you on several occasions. But the reason was quite simple, Miss Ridgway. He was walking in the same direction.
Oh, I never thought of that, Professor. I'm terribly sorry.
Fine time to be sorry. Lucky I haven't a fractured skull.
Do you wish to prefer charges, sir?
No, Sergeant, no. I've had quite enough already. May I go now? All I want to do is to get out of here.
Certainly, sir.
Please, I do apologize most profusely.
This won't happen again.
I should hope not. Good night, madam.
Well, Miss Ridgway, see how easy it is to jump to conclusions?
Yes, I really am dreadfully
You
upset.
mustn't always think the worst of people. Lots of things happen all around us that appear suspicious, but there's nearly always a simple explanation. And let that be a warning to you.
Oh, I shall, officer, I shall.
And I suggest you might drop the Professor a note of apology.
Yes, that's a very good idea. I'll do it the moment I get home.
No cereal this morning, Auntie?
Not very hungry. Isn't it time you went, Louise?
You are in a hurry to get rid of me.
Oh, of course I'm not. But I'd hate you to be late for the office.
I shan't be. My Saturday off. 1 in 4, remember?
Oh, that's nice.
You're behaving very oddly this morning.
What on earth do you mean? That sounds like the postman.
No, stay where you are. I'll get it.
Anything special?
A circular about a sale. The telephone bill. And there's one addressed to you.
To me? I wonder who it's from.
Oh, open it and see.
Oh.
Well?
Would you believe it? It's from the Professor.
The Professor?
Thanking me for my letter and accepting my apology.
Nice of him, considering.
I wish I had asked him to tea. He's probably terribly important. Atom secrets and all that.
Oh, I doubt it. Still, I do hope it's taught you a lesson.
Oh, it has, Louise. You know, this may sound silly, but I've come to the conclusion that I have a very suspicious mind.
Oh, no.
Yes, it's perfectly true. Some people never sense danger. My trouble is, I sense it too frequently.
It's those books you read. thrillers and horror stories.
What about the books you read? Silly romantic novels. I'd have thought you were a little past that sort of thing.
More coffee?
Oh, I'm sorry. I've hurt you. No, I didn't mean that.
It's all right. Now, if you'll clear the table, I'll tidy up.
The door. Should I go?
No, you carry on with the breakfast things.
Good morning, Miss Ridgway.
Oh, good morning, Mr. Cooper.
I'm sorry I haven't called before now, but I've been frightfully busy.
Oh, no need to apologise.
Oh, but I like to pay my debts promptly.
Oh, the milk bill was 7 and 2pence.
And there was the wholemeal loaf.
8pence.
Yes, I can just manage that, I think.
Thank you. Oh, I'm still reading the book you lent me about Paris.
Enjoying it?
Oh, enormously. I love the French.
I haven't more than a smattering of the language, but I do love their films.
Me too.
Of course, I seldom go to a cinema these days.
You ought to. It'd be a change.
I know, but, well, my wife isn't interested, and I hate going alone.
Need you? I mean, we could...
Yes, that's an idea. Why not? Next time a French film comes round, we'll see what we can arrange.
Fine. I'd like that.
Well, I better be getting back. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Who was that, Louise?
Oh, just Mr. Cooper from upstairs. Such a charming man.
Yes, but married.
Oh.
Oh, said something wrong, have I? What did he want?
He came to settle his bill.
Oh, I knew there was something I wanted to ask you.
Yes?
Do you remember a few nights ago I heard a noise from upstairs?
Oh, did you?
Yes, as I was going to bed. You said Mr. Cooper must have dropped a shoe. Don't you remember?
No.
Well, I don't think it was a shoe. It was a sort of muffled sound.
Then it was probably a book on the carpet. You know the walls here are like tissue paper.
Well, then, you know, I woke during the night. Must have been about 2 or 3 o'clock. And I heard furniture being moved about.
You probably dreamt it.
Oh, no, it wasn't a dream. I'm sure of it. And I heard a sound of scrubbing. There was someone scrubbing the floor.
Oh, scrubbing? Oh, for heaven's sake, Mrs. Cooper'd hardly start her spring cleaning in the middle of the night.
I know that. Tell me, is she away?
Who?
Mrs. Cooper. I thought as Mr. Cooper was doing the shopping, Mrs. Cooper must be away.
Well, I don't think so.
I haven't seen her lately.
Oh, she may be, I don't know. Sometimes you bump into neighbours twice a day. Other times you don't see them for a fortnight. Anyway, she suffers from arthritis. She may be worse. She may be in bed.
Well, it must be over a week since I've seen her. They're an odd couple, aren't they, the Coopers?
Are they?
We've been neighbours for nearly a year now, and we've never even seen the inside of their flat.
Well, perhaps they're ashamed of their furniture.
You may be right.
Oh, I was only joking.
I should think they're pretty well off. Mrs. Cooper dresses very nicely. Her clothes are expensive, I can tell. Yes, I'm sure they're comfortably off.
Very likely.
But Mr. Cooper doesn't go out to business, does he? He's always home.
I believe he writes articles for some journal or other.
There you are. He can't make a living doing that. Oh, and you've just reminded me. One afternoon, when I met Mrs. Cooper in Chatsworth Gardens, I remember her mentioning something about her investments.
Then I expect they have a private income.
Very nice, too. Oh, have you seen my book, Louise?
Which one?
The one with the man stabbing his wife on the front cover.
Here it is. Oh, how revolting. How can you read this stuff?
Oh, it's not as far-fetched as you'd think. Horrible crimes do happen. I mean, just pick up any Sunday newspaper.
I try not to.
Louise, did Mr. Cooper say anything about his wife going away?
No, but she may have gone to stay with a friend.
Well, if she is away, he must be finding it difficult to manage on his own. Men are so helpless without a woman, aren't they? Especially when they're used to having everything done for them.
Well, he wasn't at all harassed when he paid me just now.
But I think we ought to offer to help, don't you? I think I'll go up and have a word with him.
Oh, but no,
I'll
Auntie,
be very tactful, I promise.
But what'll you say to him?
I'll think of something. We could invite him down for a meal.
I suppose we could. I must say I hate to think of the poor man eating out of tins.
Then that's settled. I'll go up right away. I shan't be long. Mr. Cooper? Mr. Cooper? I'm sure he must be in. Let's take a look through the keyhole. Now, let's see. Good heavens! A hammer. There's a hammer on the table.
Lost something, Miss Ridgway?
Oh, you did startle me, Mr. Cooper. I was just tying my shoelace. It came undone.
Did you manage it all right?
Fine.
Come up to see me, have you?
Yes, as a matter of fact, I have. Not disturbing you, am I?
No. Sorry if I kept you waiting. I just slipped out for some cigarettes, a few odds and ends. Been down to the corner. Just find my key. Here we are. That's it. Well, won't you come in?
Oh, thank you.
Forgive the mess. I'm doing a few repairs. I'll just get rid of this hammer.
Oh, it's a lovely flat. It's a little larger than ours.
Oh, what can I do for you, Miss Ridgway?
Well, I hope you won't feel I'm prying, Mr. Cooper, but as I hadn't seen your wife for a week or so, I wondered whether she was away.
And you came all the way up here to inquire?
Well, yes.
That's very kind of you. As a matter of fact, my wife hasn't been too well.
No, so I gathered.
It's this arthritis, you know, following this rather damp spell. She's now convalescing in the country with some friends.
Will she be returning soon?
In a few weeks, I hope, depending on how she feels.
Oh, I hope it won't be too long. Meantime, don't hesitate to call on us if we can be of any help.
That's very thoughtful of you.
I must say the flat's looking very nice. I was going to offer to tidy up for you, but it's quite spick and span, isn't it? Have you a daily help?
No, I manage on my own.
You must have been down on your hands and knees, the floor shining like a mirror.
Well, my wife's rather house-proud. She polished it before she left, and I haven't used this room a great deal.
Do you cook for yourself, too?
Oh, I'm not very fussy. Ham sandwich and a glass of milk, and I'm satisfied.
Now, that won't do at all, Mr. Cooper. You mustn't neglect yourself because your wife's away.
Oh, I'm not, I assure you.
Well, you don't want her to come back and find she has an invalid on her hands. You must come and have an evening meal with us.
Oh, no, I couldn't possibly think of bothering.
It was no bother. I promise you it's no more trouble cooking for 3 than for 2. Now, you must come down tonight.
But look, really,
yes,
I could...
please. I shall be offended if you say no. After all, what are neighbours for but to help each other in time of need? Now, I insist.
Well, you're very persuasive.
Splendid. We usually sit down to supper around 7. Now, we'll be expecting you. Well, he got the body down into the cellar, and then he began dismembering it. You know, bit by bit. And that's as far as I got.
It sounds interesting.
If you like that sort of thing. No, it's all right, Auntie. I'll clear away.
Can I help?
Oh, no. Anyway, there's coffee. How'd you like it, Mr. Cooper? Black or white?
Just a little milk, please.
Sure you won't finish this jam sponge?
No, really, I couldn't, but it really was the most excellent meal. Thank you.
Don't look at me, Mr. Cooper. Louise. She's a marvellous cook, isn't she?
She certainly is.
Thank you, dear. I can't understand why some man hasn't snapped her up, can you?
No, I can't.
Auntie.
I expect you'd have had something cold if you'd been on your own.
Oh, a sandwich and an apple, I expect.
Your wife would be very cross if she knew.
Well, I'm sure you'll both be very discreet when she returns.
When do you expect her back, Mr. Cooper?
What?
Your wife.
Oh, didn't I tell you?
No.
I think I mentioned it to your niece, probably at the end of the month.
Is she staying near London?
At Ashbourne, that's about 140 miles, I think.
Did she travel all the way by train?
No, she doesn't care for trains, and her arthritis was still bothering her, so I took her by taxi to Victoria, and she went from there by coach.
I hope there was someone at the other end to meet her.
Yes, fortunately, and the coach stops quite near where she's staying.
Oh, I wish I'd known at the time. One of us might have travelled down with her.
Oh, she arrived quite safely. She's a very self-sufficient person.
I wish I was. I hate travelling alone. I'm always afraid I'll lose my ticket and be had up for trying to defraud the railways.
Little more coffee, Mr. Cooper?
No, not for me, thank you.
What about some of our homemade wine?
Well, no, I very rarely drink, thanks. And if you won't be offended, I think I ought to be moving.
Oh, not going.
Well, I'm afraid I must. I've got several letters and an article to finish tonight. One of those with a deadline.
A deadline?
It means I have to deliver it by a certain time.
Oh, I see. What a strange expression.
You will come again, Mr. Cooper.
I should like to very much. Good night, Miss Ridgway.
I'll see you out.
Good night. Now, give our very best wishes to your wife when you write to her.
Yes, of course.
Did I tell you Mr. Cooper asked me in when I went up before?
No.
Oh, it's a charming flat. I didn't get a look at the kitchen, but the place was spotless. Mrs. Cooper left the flat looking like a new pin.
Now, I'll see to the tray. You put the vase of flowers on the dresser.
Yes.
And do mind the water.
What?
The vase, it's rather full. I don't want water all over the carpet.
What about the cruet?
No, leave that and see to the vase. I'll be laying for breakfast later on.
You know, Louise, I'm surprised Mr. Cooper let his wife travel all the way to Ashbourne on her own, aren't you?
Not with the cost of travelling these days. And someone was meeting her at the other end.
Yes, but it's
anyway, he took her to Victoria by taxi. What more can you expect of a man?
Yes, but if I was ill, would you let me travel on my own?
Well, you're rather older than Mrs. Cooper.
Yes, I suppose you're right, aren't you?
Only what?
Well, He did say that she was still suffering from arthritis.
Yes, but a short coach journey wouldn't do her much harm. Of course, it's different if you're doing the housework.
Oh, dear.
Aunt Ellen, look what you've done.
Oh, I'm so sorry, Louise. I must have caught my sleeve on the edge of the vase.
Hand me that cloth quickly.
Yes, well, yeah, I'll do it.
No, come along. Give it to me. I'll see to it. Oh, this'll have to go to the laundry now.
Oh, I am sorry.
What is the matter with you tonight? You don't listen if I talk to you, and... Look, I think you'd better go off to bed.
Yes, sir. Yes, I think perhaps I will. Hello? Now, is that Victoria Coach Station? Oh, good afternoon. Now, I wonder, could you please tell me the return fare by coach to Ashbourne? Thank you. Yes? What? Are you sure of that? But I understood that coaches for Ashbourne left from Victoria. Oh, I see. Well, I'm sure you know best. From King's Cross Coach Station in Pentonville Road. Yes, of course I remember that. And the fare's about 25 shillings return.
Aunt Ellen?
Yes, well, thank you. Goodbye.
Aunt Ellen?
Oh, hello, Louise.
Someone ring up?
No.
I thought I heard you replacing the receiver.
Yes, I was, but I made the call.
Who to?
Victoria Coach Station.
Victoria? Whatever for?
Oh, I thought if the weather stayed fine, I might go down to Ashbourne and travel back with Mrs. Cooper when she's better, you know.
Oh, I don't think that's necessary, surely.
Well, it's not very expensive. Only 25 shillings return.
Well, we'll think about it.
Mr. Cooper did say Ashbourne.
Yes, I believe so.
Well, I thought he did. Louise, when I rang the coach station about the fare, they told me that you get to Ashbourne from King's Cross, not Victoria.
Oh, did they? Well, then I expect you do, dear.
No, you don't understand, Louise. Mr. Cooper said he took his wife by taxi to Victoria Coach Station.
Well, perhaps he meant King's Cross.
But I don't see how he could get them mixed.
Oh, I expect he got the name of the place wrong. Perhaps he didn't mean Ashbourne, but Ashford or Ashdown.
Oh, yes, that's possible, I suppose.
But I don't think there's any need for you to go down. I'm sure she'll manage the return journey alone. Oh, see who that is, would you, Auntie?
Yes, I'll go. Probably my magazines. I can't wait to know if the poor girl got safely out of the acid bath. Oh, hello, postman.
Parcel for you, ma'am.
Oh, my magazines. I do so look forward to them.
Oh, glad to hear it. Whew, I'll climb 3 flights especially for you, lady.
Oh, poor man, you must be worn out.
Oh, you get used to it.
What was that?
Those furniture blokes.
Furniture?
Yes, I passed them as I came up, delivering one of those large oak chests for the bloke upstairs, I think.
Really? For Mr. Cooper?
They're having a hell of a job with it. Large enough to take 2 of me. Should think that's landed in someone's toe. Well, better be off. Still got a couple more streets. Cheerio.
Goodbye. A large oak chest, did he say? Now, what would Mr. Cooper want with a large oak chest? I mean, why should he buy a thing like that? Remember that case in the papers? To carry the victim from the house, the murderer bought a large chest. He then took it by van to Waterloo Station and then left it in the luggage office. No! Oh, he couldn't. Louise!
Yes, Auntie, what is it?
Louise, I'm suddenly rather breathless.
Yes, you are looking a little pale.
Quickly help me across to the chair. I think I'm going to faint.
Pulse a trifle fast, but nothing to worry us. Now, let's have a look at this thermometer.
Is it...
Now, just lie back and rest for a moment. As normal as it could be. We'll live. No cause for alarm.
Really, I don't know why my niece sent for you, Dr. Parker.
Oh, she was concerned. Very nice young woman.
Yes, but to drag you all the way down here.
I thought you had another of your attacks. At your age, we can't be too careful, can we?
At my age, I assure you I'm perfectly all right.
But you were feeling faint, weren't you?
Not exactly faint, I was...
Well, call it a dizzy spell if you must. And I'm not complaining, am I?
Doctor, will you stay for a cup of tea?
No, thank you.
Sure you could do with one.
Won't believe it, but I've had 2 already.
Oh.
This time of the afternoon, I get offered a cup at every call.
Oh, I see. Excuse me, I must see to the kettle.
Oh, Doctor, Before you go, I meant to ask you.
Yes?
Is Mrs. Cooper one of your patients?
Mrs. Cooper.
From upstairs?
Oh, yes. Yes, she is. But I haven't seen her for months.
Didn't you see her recently? Her husband said she'd got arthritis.
Oh, had another attack, has she?
Yes, she's away convalescing in the country.
That'll do her good. Rest's the thing. And the same goes for you. Try taking a nap every afternoon.
Oh, I couldn't sleep now if I tried. I think I'd like my book. Could you pass it to me? It's there on the chair.
This?
Please.
Ah, The Vanishing Corpse. Charming. Nice, pleasant reading?
Yes, it is. I love a good thriller.
Me too, when I get time.
Doctor,
Yes?
do you think it's possible to get rid of a body completely?
Not too easy these days. Not so many large sewers about, and those big furnaces are a thing of the past. It's oil heating nowadays.
There's always the acid bath.
But very messy. And you've still got to buy the stuff. It'd look a bit suspicious buying a tub full of sulphuric acid. No, I'd say the best thing is to buy a large crate and dump it in the left luggage office.
In a crate? What about a large oak chest?
Yes, why not? No wonder you've got high blood pressure. Well, enjoy your book. See you in a day or so.
You're leaving, Doctor?
Yes, she's fine. There's about too much excitement, that's all.
But nothing exciting's happened around here.
Is she sleeping well?
Fairly. I give her one of those powders you prescribed if she seems restless.
Yes, they're pretty good.
Oh, Doctor, perhaps I oughtn't to mention this, but for some reason she's become highly imaginative in the past few months.
Has she?
Well, I suppose when I come to think of it, she's been like that for years. But there was an incident the other day about a man following her. In fact, we had some trouble with the police.
Oh, yes, I heard something. Professor Galton, wasn't he?
Yes, but that's not all. She hears things at night, never stops daydreaming, and she'll latch onto any tiny thing, give her half the chance.
Oh, it happens at her age. I'd just humour her if I were you. Be patient.
That's all very well. I'm never quite sure what she'll be up to next. One of these days, she'll accuse me of doing something dreadful. Poisoning her, I expect.
Not to worry. I'll look in again towards the end of the week. Goodbye.
Goodbye, Doctor. Auntie, what are you doing up?
Well, I tried to read, but I'm too restless.
Dr. Parker said you should rest.
But I feel fine.
Now come along out of that dress and let's get you to bed.
But I feel perfectly all right.
Well, at least sit down. Come on, I'll give you another cushion.
You do fuss so.
I don't know what could have upset you, I'm sure. Oh, now, would you like some tea?
No, I don't think I will.
Here, have a look at your magazine.
Thank you. You know, when the postman called, 2 furniture men were delivering a large oak chest to Mr. Cooper.
Were they? Oh, we used to have one at the old house, remember? Used to keep our linen in it.
I wonder why he bought it.
Oh, I expect he wants it for books. I believe he has quite a few. Our chest was beautifully inlaid, and there were carvings on either side. I wonder what became of it. I remember hiding in it when I was a child, and once the lid got stuck, and I thought I'd never get out.
He's lots of bookcases and plenty of cupboard space. I can't see why he should buy a chest. Besides, where's he going to keep it? The flat's overcrowded with furniture already.
Really, Auntie? Anyway, how do you know the chest was for him? Did the furniture men say?
No.
Well, then it might have been for the Thompsons. They're on the same floor.
Louise, does Mr. Cooper know we expect him for supper this evening?
Well, I said he was welcome to join us.
Yes, but do you think he'll come?
I don't know.
Well, then perhaps I ought to give him a reminder.
Now, you just sit still.
I am not an invalid, and I am perfectly well.
But if you go up, you'll embarrass the man. He'll turn up, I'm sure.
Well, if you want your dinner to go to waste...
Well... Oh, perhaps we'd better remind him. I'll go up later.
It's no trouble to climb a few stairs. I'll manage.
All right. But don't rush, will you?
I won't. I'll take it very slowly.
Oh, it's you, Miss Ridgway. I'm sorry to have kept you.
I thought you were out.
Forgive me for being in my shirt sleeves.
What's that on your arm?
That, it's a spot of blood. I cut myself shaving.
Oh, it's a bit late in the day, isn't it, to shave?
Oh, I always shave at this time. It gives me a few extra minutes in bed in the morning. Oh, please, do come in.
I'm an early riser myself.
Oh, yes?
In spite of my age, I can sometimes get by on just 3 or 4 hours sleep.
That's so. I need at least 8, I'm afraid. I'm rarely to bed after midnight.
Oh, I thought I heard you the other night. Quite late.
Oh, when was this?
Well, I'm not sure exactly. 2 or 3 nights back. Sounded as though you dropped something.
Not me, probably the Thompsons. They're always shifting round their furniture about 2 a.m. Look, do make yourself at home. I'll just slip on a jacket. It's not too cold in here, is it?
No, it's quite pleasant. I hope the furniture men didn't damage your oak chest.
What's that?
Didn't I see them delivering that chest?
Oh, yes. Splendid piece, isn't it?
Yes, fancy having to carry that up 4 flights.
Yes, they had quite a struggle, but no damage, fortunately.
It's enormous, isn't it?
Yes, my wife probably forgot about that when she bought it.
Oh, Mrs. Cooper bought it, did she?
Yes, she found it in some antique shop in Ashbourne. It's a bit cumbersome, but a jolly good buy. She only paid about £10 for it.
She's up and about then, your wife?
Yes, they're much better, thank you. I got a letter from her this afternoon mentioning the chest. I must say I was a bit shaken when it arrived.
Yes, you must have been. Very useful for storing linen, things like that. We could do with one ourselves.
Well, they're not too difficult to come by.
I was wondering how much it would hold.
Take a look, if you like.
May I?
I have the key somewhere.
Oh, it's locked, is it?
Yes, it's easier to transport if it's locked. Now, where the devil's that key? I remember one of the men handing it to me. Sorry, I can't think what I've done with it. I'll find it later, I expect. You can have a look at it then.
All right. You're coming down later, aren't you?
Well,
My niece is expecting you. She'll be awfully disappointed if you don't come.
I want to very much. I just feel I'm being an awful nuisance.
Nonsense. We'd love to have you. We'll expect you about 7. And bring your slippers if you like. I'm sure you'll be more comfortable.
Either of you ladies mind if I smoke?
I don't mind.
No, please do.
This is a great treat. My wife isn't very fond of milk puddings. We rarely have them.
Is she a good cook?
She was very good.
Was?
Well, I mean, since her recent attack of arthritis, she's done very little cooking. She has to avoid steam or water, you see. We've relied a great deal on the tin opener and the occasional meal out.
Awfully expensive, though, isn't
Oh,
it?
I'm sorry. Can I offer either of you a cigarette?
Oh, thank you. I'd love one.
No, not for me.
Don't you ever?
Well, I used to have the occasional one. Then I read about those poisoned cigarettes. Cyanide, I believe they use. And it put me right off.
I must say, I wish I could give it up.
By the way, Mr. Cooper, did you come across your key?
My key?
The one to the oak chest.
Oh, yes. I'd gone to wash my hands and left it on the kitchen table. Here it is. I seem to collect so many keys. Well, next time you're free, you must come up and have a look at it.
I think I'd better see to the coffee.
No, it's all right, Louise. I'll go.
Oh, all right.
You sit and chat with Mr. Cooper.
I've left the milk on the small light.
She's a wonderful old woman, isn't she? She's so active for her age.
Too active sometimes. Oh, do you think I could have a light?
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Thank you. Oh, there's a concert on this evening from the festival hall, if you'd like to stay.
I would, very much. I used to go to concerts a great deal when I was single, but my wife isn't terribly fond of classical music. She prefers musical comedy. Personally, I find all this modern stuff too noisy.
Yes, I do so agree.
It's funny, you never really discover someone's likes and dislikes until you live with them.
By then it's too late.
Well, it doesn't have to be, of course, but in my case, supposing I was to meet someone who shared my tastes,
Yes?
what could I do? I couldn't go off and start a new life. My wife needs me.
No, it isn't easy to run off. I thought about it too. Though I suppose there must be an answer somewhere.
Now, there are answers, but none very satisfactory, I'm afraid.
One just has to compromise.
Well, you try. Yes, you go on trying, as long as you can.
Here we are. All done. Coffee. Could you make room for the tray, please? Thank you, Mr. Cooper.
You're in a very gay mood, Auntie.
Am I? Now, if I remember, it's just a little milk for you, Mr. Cooper.
Oh, I should serve your niece first.
Oh, no, you're the guest. First cup for you.
Oh, that's fine, thank you.
Here you are, Louise. You'll help yourself to milk.
Yes. What about you?
No, I don't think I will. It stops me sleeping.
Oh, then could you put on the radio? Mr. Cooper's going to stay and listen to the concert.
Oh, good. It starts at 8, doesn't it?
Yes, it's nearly 5 too.
Oh, is it as late as that? I didn't realise. Mr. Cooper, would you mind if we did the washing up now? Then we should be done by the time it begins.
Oh, please let me in.
No, Mr. Cooper, you sit still. Louise and I can manage it.
Well, let's hurry then. This shouldn't take long.
It's all right, Louise. I'll try.
Well, I'm glad you've cheered up. I was rather worried about you during supper.
Were you?
Will you You sat there not saying a word, and you hardly touched your food.
I seem to have lost my appetite.
Did you mention that to Dr. Parker?
I wish you wouldn't fuss, Louise. Don't you ever lose your appetite?
Oh, the forks go in that drawer. You're always forgetting.
Louise, the chest the furniture men delivered was for Mr. Cooper.
What? Oh, was it?
He told me his wife sent it to him from Ashbourne.
Careful, you're letting the water drip all over the floor.
Sorry. There's something odd, though.
What are you talking about?
He told me he had a letter from his wife today telling him the chest was arriving.
Told you? Oh, I can imagine you are nosy.
But you know, I don't think he did get a letter. You see, the postman told me that he came up 3 flights specially to deliver my magazines, so he couldn't have brought a letter to Mr. Cooper.
Oh, he probably had a letter by the earlier post.
But he said this afternoon.
Oh, now you're not prying again.
Of course not. I never pry. Anyway, that's not the only thing.
Do put that cutlery in the drawer.
All right. Louise, will you listen? He said his wife had been ill, didn't he?
Well?
Well, then why didn't Dr. Parker visit her?
Perhaps Mr. Cooper didn't think it was necessary. She probably has tablets or liniment. There wasn't any point in calling him
But there's
in.
another thing. Mr. Cooper said that she was suffering from arthritis when he took her to the coach station.
So?
But don't you see, Louise? He told me she'd scrubbed and polished the floor before she left. She'd never have done that with arthritis.
Probably not. But perhaps he didn't want to admit he'd been down on his hands and knees. You know what men are.
Then there's the oak chest. Why should Mrs. Cooper send an old antique chest all the way from Ashbourne?
Because she liked it. Why does anyone buy an antique?
There are lots of antique shops near here. One didn't have to go all the way to Ashbourne to get one.
But people often buy furniture when they're away on holiday.
But she's not on holiday. She's supposed to be resting. I can't see her wandering around looking at antique shops. No, I believe Mr. Cooper bought that chest.
Oh, well, perhaps he may have done. Now, hurry up with those saucepans or we'll never get finished. Do you want a clean tea cloth?
No, I can manage with this one. The point I'm making, Louise, is why did he buy it? The chest.
Oh, for books, as I said before. What other reason could he have?
Louise, have you no imagination?
Imagination? Well, what's that got to do with it?
Really?
Auntie, what are you suggesting?
Do I have to put it into words?
Auntie, for heaven's sake, you can't believe... Surely you're not suggesting that Mr. Cooper...
Yes, I am. If it was one thing, fine. But there are so many.
Oh, heavens, what am I going to do with you?
And I know his motive, too, or at least I can guess at it.
Oh, can you?
Yes, I don't think they get on very well. She was probably tired of him living off her investments, and very likely told him so.
You're not serious.
Well, as far as I can see, they never agreed about anything.
But lots of married couples have
And his eyebrows meet, haven't you noticed? In the middle. And that's usually a sign that a person...
Please keep your voice down or he'll hear you.
But there's no need to worry about him.
What do you mean?
He won't hear us.
He will if you persist in shouting at the top of your voice.
No, I've put 2 sleeping powders in his coffee.
You've done what?
So he won't disturb us while we go up and search his flat.
Auntie, no. You haven't. Oh, no.
There's no need to worry, Louise. Louise!
Mr. Cooper? Mr. Cooper? Michael, can you hear me? Wake up.
Oh, they seem to have worked, don't they? I wasn't sure that they would.
Michael, wake up.
It's no use shaking him. I don't think it'll help. It's rather like on the films, isn't it? The villain drops a tablet into the glass, and then
Just
the heroine...
stop talking, will you? Switch the radio off and put on some black coffee quickly.
Well, I shouldn't think that'd help. And anyhow, how would he drink it? He'll choke. No, I'm afraid he'll be out for ages.
Then I'd better call Dr. Parker.
But if you do that, he might notify the police. No. I'd just let him sleep it off if I were you. Now...
Auntie, what are you doing?
What do you think?
Now leave his pockets alone.
His keys are here somewhere. I saw them at supper.
Auntie, stop it this instant. This is beyond a joke.
Oh, he won't know anything about it. He'll sleep for hours. But I must put my mind at rest.
And you're going up to his flat?
I certainly am.
And what do you think you'll find there?
I shan't know till I've looked, shall I?
Do you really imagine you'll find Mrs. Cooper up there?
More than likely.
Oh, for heaven's sake, you're behaving like a stupid child.
Possibly. Now, where are those keys?
He looks awfully pale. Are you sure you didn't give him more than 2 powders?
Well, it might have been 3.
What?
But they're quite safe. I remember Dr. Parker saying... got them.
Now, put them back at once, I insist.
Certainly not.
Give me those...
Don't snatch. It's not polite to snatch.
Not polite? Aunt Ellen, really, this must stop. A joke's a joke, but...
Now, are you coming up with me or not? If you don't, I shall go alone.
Auntie, do be sensible. If you enter Mr. Cooper's flat without his knowledge, you can be arrested for breaking in, for housebreaking. You could be charged as a burglar.
Nonsense. All I'm going to do is to have a quiet look around.
But what for? Mr. Cooper's a kind, peaceful man.
So was Crippen.
He's sensitive, too. His only thought is for his wife.
That's what he wants you to believe.
Oh, haven't we had enough trouble with the police? They won't be so lenient next time.
But no one will know. I just couldn't sleep at night thinking about poor Mrs. Cooper. Anyway, you don't have to come. You can stay here if you like. But I'm going up.
Auntie, come back here. Come back here at once. Auntie, give me those keys.
I can't seem to find the front door key.
Auntie, please.
I'm sure it's on here somewhere.
Please.
Now, I think this is the one.
You won't find anything in there. Do you think you will?
If I didn't, I shouldn't be going to all this trouble.
Really, what are you imagining now?
Miss Ridgway, may I congratulate you on a remarkable feat of observation.
But it was obvious, Sergeant.
It's easy enough to be wise after the event, but it takes a brilliant imagination to piece together a few isolated statements and incidents.
And no one would believe me.
No, they never do. But this case will go down in the annals of criminal history as a masterpiece of detection.
Auntie, will you stop imagining things and listen to me?
Let me just try this key. Yes, I was right. It fits.
I'm not going in.
Please yourself. Stay outside if you prefer.
Auntie, for heaven's sake.
Oh, I see you've changed your mind. Now, what did I tell you? Look at the floor. Been scrubbed, hasn't it? Louise!
What is it?
The chest, it's gone.
Well, where are you going?
Into the bedroom, of course.
What are you doing?
Looking under the bed. There was an old case there.
Nothing there?
No. Or in this wardrobe.
What about the divan? I should look under there.
Yes, I think I will. No, nothing there.
No, well, don't forget the kitchen, will you?
But there's nowhere to hide it there.
She might be in the incinerator.
Do you think so? I hadn't thought of that.
Oh, for goodness sake.
Well, I suppose I'd better take a look just in case. No, there hasn't been a fire lit for weeks.
I think we ought to go down. I'm worried about Mr. Cooper. Are you coming?
I haven't finished yet.
Oh, what are you going to do now?
There's the small box room.
Oh, why don't you look under the floorboards?
Don't be so silly, dear. He couldn't hide her there. It's parquet flooring.
Well, go on then. Search the box room if you must.
Well, now, don't rush me. Louise! It's here.
What?
The old chest. Look, it's here. He's moved it.
Well, he could hardly have it cluttering up the lounge, would he?
And there's a label on it, tied round one of the handles. Now, what does it say? Good heavens, Waterloo Station.
Well, that label may have come with the trunk.
But the chest came by lorry.
The label could have been put on by the last owner.
No, it's Mr. Cooper's writing.
How do you know that? Have you ever seen his writing?
No, but it's how I imagine he would write.
Oh, you're not only a detective now, but a handwriting expert.
Well, I'm determined to open this chest.
Am I stopping you?
But you know what we might find.
I'm quite convinced what you'll find. Nothing.
Now, I remember the key. Yes, it's this one.
Well, go on, insert it. Oh, do hurry. If Mr. Cooper wakes up before you finish your treasure hunt, we'll be in dreadful trouble.
There. It's open. I think I shall need some help with the lid.
Very well. You take that end. At least this'll put a stop to this nonsense. There. What did I tell you? Just straw and packing material.
You said books. Anyway, I'm not through yet.
Look what you're doing. Straw everywhere.
I must be certain.
You satisfied now? Empty.
I'm sorry, Louise. I'm just a silly old woman.
Aren't you? Well, don't just stand there. We'd better clear this mess up. Then down you go and apologize to Mr. Cooper the moment he wakes up.
Yes.
Oh, look at this floor. Find a dustpan, will you? Probably in the kitchen.
I didn't see one in there.
Well, there might be one in the hall cupboard. See, will you?
Well, I'll have a look.
Got one?
Yes. Here you are. And a broom.
Good. Well, I'll hold the pan and you sweep it in. That's it. Now, quickly put them back in the cupboard and let's get back to the flat.
Yes, all right.
Now, everything tidy?
I think so.
Oh, look, you've knocked the coats on the floor.
No, I haven't touched them.
Well, pick them up and put them on a hanger. Hurry.
All right, but I didn't knock them down. They were there already. Louise.
Yes, now what?
There's something. I felt under the coats. Oh, look.
You have been listening to the conclusion of Suspicious Mind by Philip Levene. In the cast, you heard Betty Hardy as Aunt Ellen, Sheila Houston as Louise, and Peter Howell as Mr. Cooper. The play was produced in London at the BBC. The executive producer of the Mystery Project is Bill Howell. Our coordinating producer is Barry Morgan. I'm Bob Boving, thanking you for listening and inviting your comments. See you next week.